The Titans made waves this offseason, going out and getting some big names. They signed Lloyd Cushenberry to be their franchise center, coming from the Denver Broncos. They signed Calvin Ridley in a surprise move to a big deal coming from Jacksonville, their rivals. They signed Mason Rudolph to back up Will Levis, who ended up starting at the end of last season and started a playoff game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They added Tony Pollard, the dynamic player out of Memphis, went to the Dallas Cowboys, stayed behind Zeke Elliott, and then eventually got his opportunity, although he was dealing with injury. They also have him with Tajay Spears, Hassan Haskins. We'll see what ends up happening there. In addition to that, the defense, they go out and they get Sebastian Joseph Day to bulk up their defensive interior with Jeffrey Simmons. They also go out and get Kenneth Murray to help out their linebacker room. And now they just added Chidobe Awuzie and traded for L'Jarius Sneed. So with that said, this new look Titans team that is currently run with head coach Brian Callahan, what are they going to look like? They brought over Denard Wilson from the Ravens. Last year's Ravens team was one of the best defenses in football. Wilson was a heavy candidate to be a defensive coordinator, and he did actually have some interest. I don't know if he received any interviews to be a head coach, but I know he had some interest there. So he's a really good defensive coordinator option. He's going to bring over that Raven style. So where do they go from here? What do the Titans do in the draft? We're going to get into it. Before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and also be sure to follow me on all social media at JK Bogan. All right. Looking at this, I've heard so many times this team needs to draft a wide receiver, okay? I don't see it. I'm not saying DeAndre Hopkins is the fountain of youth and he's going to be 25 next year, because he's not. But I think people are way too quick to discount him. I thought he played pretty well at the end of last year. Calvin Ridley, 1,000 yards, coming off a suspended season. Wasted no time. You saw some good things out of Kyle Phillips, Nick Westbrook-Akine. He can do the little things. And then, of course, Treylon Burks, who you spent a first-round pick in 2022. The way I see it is this, okay? When it comes to the Titans, looking at their offensive line, they have guys like Dylan Ray-Dunes, who was a second-round pick in 2021. They have Peter Skoronski, a left guard, who was a first-round pick in 2023. They drafted Jalen Duncan last year in the 6th round. They have Nicholas Petit-Frere, who is a third-round pick from 2022, played some at left tackle this year. Daniel Brunskill, who they got from the 49ers in free agency, and Lloyd Cushenberry. They have some guys in Andrew Rupchich and some other guys. So Sadiq Charles as well, who they just added. Looking at this offensive line, this team is either keen on trading down or they are taking a tackle. Okay, no doubt about it. Because the fact of the matter is this, Ray-Dunes hasn't been what they expected. Okay, and even if he has, I think if they're going to move Skoronski to left guard, they need a tackle. I don't think Nicholas Petit-Frere is necessarily the best option there. I know last year, third round pick in 2022, but I don't love him as an option there. And I don't know if they did. They drafted Jalen Duncan, who had some good athletic upside in the 6th round last year. So with that said, Joe Alt feels like the obvious pick here. I guess it's really just pick your flavor. You got Joe Alt, you got Talisa Fuaga, you got Olu Fashanu, you also have J.C. Latham, and you have Troy Fatanu. Those are the only guys I could see going this high, and I can't really see Fatanu going that high. J.C. Latham, it seems like NFL Network is really high on him, and NFL.com, and you see those mock drafts where he's going in the top 10, but it seems like other people aren't as high on him. So I don't know where he's going to go. So I'm going to say this. If I'm the Titans and I'm trying to build around Will Levis, and that's a big reason why they hired Brian Callahan, because they weren't trying to give up on Will Levis, second-round pick in 2023. No, they wanted a head coach that was going to be able to develop him, right? With that said, I think Brian Callahan can do that. But he needs an offensive line, okay? You're going in the right direction getting Skoronski from Northwestern. Okay, I like that pick. Lloyd Cushenberry, the third best free agent pickup, in my opinion, that they made. Don't get me wrong, Calvin Ridley is probably the better player at his position compared to his position, but I like the Lloyd Cushenberry move a lot. I thought it was aggressive. Obviously, you lost your center in free agency, and that's something to keep in mind because, you end up losing him in free agency. You have to replace him, of course. And the thing about, their free agent position is, he was more their center, whose name is totally blanking on me right now. He was more of a, kind of a compact, not really your typical center, 280, if even. He was a light center. And now, you have a guy in Lloyd Cushenberry III who gives you a really nice, bang for your buck there. One of the better centers in football. So I really like the way it looks right now for them. Brunskill, I'm not as high on, I'll be honest with you, but you can get away with him. Skoronski, I am high on him. Personally, I would have used him as a tackle. I don't know if they decide to maybe go that direction, but currently on the depth chart, of course, unofficial depth chart, he's listed as a guard. Ray Dunes is a tackle, and then Petit Frere. So to me, this is a no-brainer. All right. My number one tackle in this draft is Talisa Fuaga. But I think if you're looking for a left tackle, a bookend left tackle, a franchise left tackle, a guy that's going to protect Will Levis, your investment you made last year in the second round, you want to protect his blind side, it's Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. Alt is, and again, it's pick your flavor. Obviously, the Titans could have a higher grade on somebody else. But with Alt, he's a former tight end, turn offensive tackle. He's got crazy athleticism, crazy size. You're talking about a guy who's a brick wall who only gave up, I think, like 1 sack, right? I mean, gave up 5 pressures, I think it was this past year. So when you look at a guy like Joe Alt, this is somebody who comes in right away and is a potential rookie of the year candidate. He's that good. So I'm expecting them to go that route or trade this pick. And if they traded this pick, I think there would be some suitors. I think there'd be people wanting to come up and get their franchise left tackle. And I think one of those could be the Los Angeles Rams. The reason I say that, first off, wouldn't be the first time the Rams trade with the Titans. Obviously, we know they traded up to get Jared Goff. But I could see them trading down with the Rams because the Rams could offer their 2025 first-round pick. And if the Titans wanted to, have 2 picks next year, being a younger team, still trying to compete, obviously, going out and getting a Calvin Ridley and a Lloyd Cushenberry and Tony Pollard, you could still see them wanting that first-round pick in 2025, maybe asking for a second, and, they have 2/3 as well. So the Rams are an option. I could see, maybe the Jets trading up. The Jets are at 10. It would be a short trade up, so it wouldn't kill the Titans. If you really don't know between Alt and Fashanu and whoever, and it's really, you're having a hard time deciding between the two, you trade down, you let it sort itself out, and then at pick 10, the board pretty much tells you who you're going to select. So I'm not saying every team goes that route. I'm not saying any team goes that route, but I could see them doing something like that. With that said, I can't see NFL evaluators knowing what they always look for in these players, knowing what they want in their tackles and all that. I can't see anybody looking at Joe Alt and saying, I'm going to pass, especially if you have a need at tackle. And I'm not saying Petit Frere can't be something in this league, because he absolutely can, but he's not going to be Joe Alt. Joe Alt is a blue chip prospect, and you only have 7 of them, in my opinion, in this draft. And if you want to be nice, fine, I'll give you 10. But the point is, it's top 10, and then after that, there's no blue chips. You're getting really good prospects in the first round. You're not getting game changers. And Joe Alt is a game changer. And if you're 100% invested in Will Levis like you say you are, back it up by going out and getting a game changer at left tackle in Joe Alt. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Drop them in the comments section below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and of course, be sure to follow me on all social media at JK Bogan, and I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys take care. Later, folks.